Hi, my name is Christine. I am a demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And today we're making an owl. You see this guy? We're going to make this owl using the Sweet Strawberry bundle, so the stamp set and the punch. So let's get started. I'm so excited about this. It's adorable. I'm just going to put him in front of me for a guide. So the first thing we're going to do is set up our stencil. So I made a stencil of this punch because it's got the leaf, it's got the strawberry, the stem, and the little flower, and it's a bit difficult to do them one at a time sometimes. So I took a sheet of really brightly colored paper, this is Bermuda Bay, and I put it inside my punch, aligned it all the way down at the bottom and right on the edge, and I made a stencil. And then I wrote front on it so I know which side is the front. So I'm just going to line that up with, this is soft suede I'm using. And I'm just going to put a sticky note at the top to keep that lined up so that when I stamp, I'll have my stencil. I'll be able to punch out all four pieces together. So I could just stamp them out like this and assemble my owl. However, I want to add a little more texture. So I'm just going to use, these stamps have like an outline stamp and then they've got the inside. So I'm just going to use the insides just to add some texture to that paper. I feel like I need a bigger desk. All right. So I'm going to start with my strawberry. You'll notice that my strawberry is pink. That's because if you use reds on your photopolymer stamps, the red ones, sorry, the clear ones, it'll stain, but that's okay. It's clean, it's just stained. And before I stamp that, I'm going to put my specs on so that I can see what I'm doing. So because I've got this stencil, now the stencil works a lot better with white paper underneath, so I'm just going to have to put my head over top. Excuse the top of my head here. There we go. So this is tone on tone. It's not going to show a lot, but it is going to give some texture to the paper when we're done. Then I'm going to go in with my leaf. There's no rhyme or reason to this. I just kind of grab the leaf. And, excuse my head. This is much easier to do if you're really on top of the stencil. And like I said, it works better with white paper underneath. This is why I use such a dark color, but because we're making a little owl and I want him to be brown, I'm not using white. But you could make this guy any color you want. You know, go with the grays or the browns, or you could even make him pink if you wanted to. It's up to the imagination, right? Actually, I'm going to keep that one handy because we're going to use that again. And lastly, we'll do the stem. Not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to keep the stem out because we're going to use that again as well. All right, so now I'm just going to take the sticky note off. We're done with the stencil, so I'll put that out of the way. So you can see I've got my 4 images here. So I'm going to stick those in here. And they line up beautifully. Almost. There we go. So we've got, this is going to be our body. This is going to be our wings, our ears, and one eye. So I need to do one more eye. Shouldn't have put that away. So I got this idea from a card I saw that Bronwyn Eastley made, and I just had to try it, and I quite love it. So that'll be our second eye. Just lining that up. And lastly, we need some feet and a beak, which is why I've got my orange paper out. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to use the pumpkin pie ink on the pumpkin pie paper. I'm just going to check the orientation here. So let's punch out a stem. So there's our feet, and we'll do one more. I should have done that in another corner. That probably won't fit. No. So this is why I always keep my little scrap bits of paper kicking around, because if you want to do something super small, they come in handy and you don't have to cut up a whole sheet of paper. There we go. So that's it for our punch. I'll just set that aside. And our orange ink. There we go. So how do we turn this guy into an owl? So first off, this will be the body. Then we're going to cut the stem off this and turn it into feet. Then we've got our eyes. Our leaf is going to be his wings. So that goes over here. Then we've got this one. I did it differently than Bronwyn had done, but this will be his ears or little tufts of feathers over here. She only kept one part of that and made ears with it, but I find owls should have a little bit more going on. And this is going to be for our beak. So I just need a teeny bit of it. And there we go. Okay, so now we've got to assemble this. So you can do this using glue dots or liquid glue. It is entirely up to you. I am going to use liquid glue on some of it. My glue has been really gloopy. Lots coming out at once, which is a little bit frustrating when you don't want lots. So I think I will actually use glue dots for the remaining bits. So these are going to be the feet. I don't know if you can see it in your mind what I'm doing yet, but it looks really cute. Put the little beak. And then I mentioned my glue dots, so just pull those out. So I'm going to do his wings. And I want this kind of flush with his body. What I like with the glue dots is it doesn't add a lot of bulk. It's not thick like a dimensional, but it's going to give a little bit of elevation to what we're doing. It just makes it look a little more natural. And then we're going to go with his, I don't know what to call this, his feathers or his ears, whatever, I don't know. So I'm going a little bit wide on this because his eyes are quite big. And on my mock-up that I did earlier, I ended up having to move those because I couldn't see them anymore. All right, did I do okay? I did. Okay, so the eyes are going to overlap a little bit to each other. Otherwise, we'd have a really big owl head. So I'm just trying to place that low enough that I can still see those ears slash feathers. And try to place them even. There we go. So now he looks like a little owl. The only thing missing, I would say, that he needs is some eyeballs to make that a little bit more distinct. So what I'm using is the Elegant Faceted Gems. There's clear ones. There's this, I think this is Petal Pink or Champagne. And then we've got these kind of more opaque ones, and they have a little shine to them, so it's kind of nice. So I'm just using my Take Your Pick tool. It's got a kind of gummy substance on the end, and it just allows you to pick these little things up. And it makes it easier to see where you're putting them too. All right. Just gonna have one last look at this guy. I'm good. I'm happy with that. So we'll move on to the card that I want to make with him. So I'm using thick white cardstock. I've got a mat here that I've made with the soft suede, just to pull it through. So I'm just using the liquid glue to do this. Gives me an extra couple seconds if I need to move it around when I put it down. I try so hard to glue things straight, but it's just not my strong point. So that is our soft suede mat. Then I've used Oh, Ombre paper. So this is of the Sale-a-bration offerings. If you spend $60, this is one of the papers you can get. They're double-sided. So this is the, I think it's Rich Razzleberry. And it's got a small sheen to it too. I don't know if you can see that on the video. So what I've done is I used my rectangle dies and cut out the center. And what's neat with these dies is it's got the stitching on the one side and on the negative, and then the part you cut out. So what I want to do to give this a little more interest is when I put it together, I'm actually going to do it this way. I'm flipping them around. So here it's going from dark to light, and here it's going to go from dark to light. The other way around. So it just gives it a little more interest. So I'm just going to glue this down with my ink, with my glue. Woo. With a lot of glue. Let's spread the love here. Yeah, you can do this with the ombre paper as well, with any die cut or a larger punch, and it just has a really cool kind of effect. So I decided I wanted the light on the bottom. I cut my pieces on purpose to just leave a very small brown border. So I want the Oh So Ombre to really be the star here. All right. So before we put our owl on here, I just want to add a little bit of interest to that as well. So I'm going to go back to the stamp set. And the largest stamp on here is leaves with strawberries. Sorry, strawberry flowers. They're not strawberries yet. Which doesn't really, I don't think you'd ever see an owl in a strawberry patch, but maybe, I don't know, a small one. But I just want to add some design to the background. So I'm using Granny Apple Green, which is the same color as this green. I should mention too, the Oh So Ombre has another set of colors in it, and it's the Bermuda Bay, which is the color of that stencil that I've used. And on the other side of that one is Rococo Rose, which is also really lovely. So I've added my leaves. The other part we need is a sentiment. Just going to put the green away before I stick my fingers in it. And I'm going to pull out my black to do the sentiment. So we're just going to do Hello Friend. It's not too big, and it's going to fit nicely in this corner. So I want to ink that up really good because I want it to stand out nicely on the paper. There we go. Alright, so I'll put the ink away and my block, and we can finish assembling this. So before I put my owl down, I'm going to put just a little bit of linen thread. I'm going to do a bow on camera, but I'm also going to show you a little trick that I've picked up, which makes bows a little easier. So because this thread is on a spool, it's quite curly. So I'm kind of doing that reverse of what you do at Christmas with ribbon, and I'm uncurling it just with using my bone folder to go over it. So I'm going to want my bow to be right about there. So what I did earlier is when I was making my other card, I grabbed one of these glue dots and I broke it in half. I just pulled it apart with my nails. But I saved the other half so that I could do it on this card. So I've kind of balled it up a little bit, the glue dot, and I'm sticking that down there. Then I'm going to take my thread, I always want to call this twine. It is not twine, it's linen thread, but it looks a lot like twine. It's just a little easier to manipulate than traditional thick twine. So I'm just positioning my knot so that it's in the glue dot, and I've scooshed it down, and look at that, no hands. And so now I can make my bow super easily without trying to hold that knot down, which causes me a lot of grief. So, don't want a huge bow, just a little bow, so I'm just going to fuss with that until I have it the size I want. Okay, and then I'm just going to squish it down a bit more so none of the glue is going, oh, that's odd. Did I do this bow upside down or something? It doesn't want to stop coming loose. There we go. Okay, now we're good. So I've squished it down into the glue dot, so there's nothing sticky left, and this guy's not going anywhere. So I'll worry about cutting the tails off that after. So the only thing is I've created a bump here, and I don't want our owl to kind of look funny. So I'm going to use dimensionals to put him on. Those are double-sided foam pieces, just to lift him up so that he's not got a weird bump in him when I glue him down. And I don't know that he's a boy owl. I just seem to be calling him a he. Now that I mentioned a pink owl, I kind of want to make a pink owl. So I'm kind of using that thread as a little bit of a perch for him as well. All right, so now we'll go back to our card. So I want to put that on here, and I'm just going to have it float. I'm going to put it on dimensionals as well. And just so that I don't have to worry about my ribbon slipping, I'm going to I've got a dot kind of on either side. It's on pretty tight, so I don't think it will slip, but better to do it than not. So I'm just lining it up with the bottom of the cutout. And I will cut those tails because they're way too long. They don't have to be completely even, but there we go. What do you think? So cute. So it's really not that hard to do. It's just to know which pieces to punch and which pieces to cut. I love using punches for uses they weren't really created for. There's some super creative people out there who think of all sorts of things. So here is our owl. So this one I had done in cinnamon cider, and then this one I did in the soft suede. So I hope you like it. Please let me know if you have any questions. And if you're interested in purchasing anything, you can contact me or go to my website. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.